In a quiet village in Ghana, beneath the shade of an ancient odum tree, two sisters made a promise to chase the stars, no matter how far apart the world would pull them. One would fly halfway across the globe to build the future with machines. The other would return home to save families with her bare hands. What they didn't know was that their greatest test wasn't distance, it was sacrifice, love, and the dream that would change Africa forever. In the heart of the African continent, nestled between dusty roads and golden savannas, lay a quiet village called Ejiso. It was not large, nor especially modern, but it pulsed with a quiet strength born of resilience and tradition. Here, the nights were filled with drums and laughter, and the days brought with them the scent of ripe mangoes and freshly baked cornmeal. In this village lived two sisters, Achiaa and Serwaa. Though they were born of the same mother and father, their spirit could not have been more different. Achiaa, the elder by 2 years, was known for her quiet strength. She had her father's calm eyes and her mother's sharp cheekbones. She loved the earth, planted every seed with a prayer, and harvested with a smile. The villagers said she could talk to plants, and they listened. Serwaa, on the other hand, was fire. She ran barefoot through the village, her laughter ringing through the air like the bells on the cattle's necks. Her eyes sparkled with mischiefs and big dreams. She was clever, insatiably curious, and always asking questions the elders were too tired to answer. Their mother, Mama Esi, ran the local store and was a revered healer. Their father, Baba Tunde, was a teacher who once studied in a capital but returned to save his people. They were not wealthy, but they were rich in what truly mattered: love, community, and stories. Every night, the sisters would lie on a woven mat beneath the odum tree and look up at the stars. One day, Serwaa would whisper, "I will go to China and become a scientist. I will build things that fly." Achiaa would smile, tucking her hands behind her head. "And I will build a farm that feeds our whole village. You will fly your machines home and land them next to my maize fields." They would giggle, their laughter rising into the night sky like incense. The first tremor in their world came quietly, like a breath before a storm. Baba Tunde had been coughing for weeks, but he insisted it was only dust. Then came the fever. The herbs didn't work this time. The healer in the next town was too far, and by the time he arrived, Baba Tunde was too weak. He passed on a Wednesday morning. The odum tree dropped its leaves early that year, and the village fell into silence. Mama Esi sat motionless for days. Achiaa stopped singing while planting. Serwaa stopped running. But grief is like water. It will either drop you or teach you to float. One afternoon, Serwaa stood at the edge of their compound, clutching a crumpled letter from her school. She had won a scholarship, a full one, to study in Beijing, China. It was a dream plucked straight from the stars. Mama Esi's face remained unreadable as she read the letter. Then she stood, placed a hand on each daughter's shoulder, and said, "Go, but not alone." "What do you mean?" Achiaa asked. "I mean, both of you go." Achiaa blinked. "But I'm not. I didn't win anything." Mama Esi smiled sadly. "You two were born holding hands. Let the world see what happens when love like that refuses to be broken." They sold the land Baba Tunde has one thought on, borrowed money from the village fund, and with the scholarship covering Serwaa's fees, a chance travel was arranged. Achiaa would enroll in technical agricultural training course, also in Beijing, through a government initiative. And so, with heavy hearts and hopeful dreams, the sisters boarded a plane for the very first time, leaving behind the earth that had always known their names. Beijing was not like Ejiso. It was loud, fast, cold, and smelled nothing like home. The building touched the clouds. The people rushed like they were always late. The food was strange. No maize, no yam, and soup was often served for breakfast. The sisters huddled together in their tiny dorm room at Beijing Agricultural University. Serwaa was placed in an engineering track, Achiaa in horticulture and irrigation systems. Their Mandarin was shaky. Their accents marked them as different. On campus, some students stared, a few whispered. Achiaa felt like a weed in a perfect garden. Serwaa, however, adjusted quickly, laughing at strange moments, collecting Chinese phrases like beats. Still, the cold bit into their skin. Winter arrived early that year. The snow fell like flour from the sky. One evening, after a grueling class, Achiaa sat alone in the greenhouse lab, tending to a tomato plant she had grown from seed. A boy with thick glasses and kind eyes approached her. 你的植物真的很好, meaning, your plant is growing well. She blinked. 谢谢, meaning thank you. My name is Kai, he said in soft English. You are Achiaa, right? From Africa. Yes. My grandfather was a farmer. He always said the best gurus are ones who listened. From that moment on, Kai visited the greenhouse often. They spoke in a blend of English, Mandarin, and smiles. Slowly, Achiaa found warmth again. Serwaa's experience, however, took a darker turn. In her engineering class, she was the only African girl, and her beauty did not go unnoticed. A group of local girls, led by a sharp-featured student named Jane, took an instant disliking to her. You think you are special because of your hair? Jane had sneered one afternoon. Serwaa ignored them at first, but it escalated. Her lab coat was stained with ink. Once, someone locked her in the mechanical storage room during a group project. She never told Achiaa. Instead, she smiled at home, made jokes, cooked the rice, and let her sister sleep peacefully. But inside, she was burning. One night, after a particularly cruel prank, she sat alone on the roof of the dorm. The light of Beijing sparkled below her. Her chest felt like it would crack open from holding everything in. Then she heard footsteps. Kai, Achiaa said you might be here, he said gently. Serwaa turned away, wiping her face. I'm fine. No, you are not. They sat in silence for a long time. Then Kai said, my mother is a professor. She faced racism when she studied abroad. She told me something once. When they make you feel like you don't belong, remember who sent you. Serwaa swallowed. My father, he believed in me. Kai nodded. Then don't let them win. The sisters found strength again in each other. In the quiet of the greenhouse, in the steaming bowls of hot pot Kai introduced them to. They didn't have much, but they had each other. Achiaa's tomato began to thrive. She started presenting in class with confidence. Her teacher recommended her for a provincial student award. Serwaa, with Kai's support and her own stubbornness, she began recording everything. The bullying was reported. Jane was disciplined. Serwaa was moved to another group. Slowly, she reclaimed her space. By spring, the cherry blossoms had bloomed. Achiaa and Kai walked beneath the pink trees often, sometimes with Serwaa trailing behind, rolling her eyes. Are you two in love or something? Serwaa would tease. Achiaa would blush. No. Kai would smile. Not yet. Just as the sisters found their rhythm, a letter arrived from Ejiso. Mama Esi had fallen ill. The letter was smudged with tears. The village had pulled funds, but the hospital was far, and the medicine were expensive. Achiaa dropped the letter. Her fingers trembled. We have to go home, she said. Serwaa stared at the wall, then at her phone. I can't go back now. I'm mid-project. I need to finish this semester. We can't lose our future too. Achiaa's voice cracked. What about Mama? We send money. We stay here. If we go back now, everything we sacrificed will be gone. They sat in silence. Two hearts, one tongue. Eventually, they agreed. Achiaa would go. Serwaa would stay. At the airport, Achiaa hugged her sister tightly. Promise me, she whispered. You will finish what we started. Serwaa nodded, tears on her cheeks. And you bring Mama back to health. Kai hugged them both. You are not alone. Not anymore. As Achiaa disappeared through the terminal gates, Serwaa stared up at the sky. Above her, the stars gleamed faintly in the Beijing smoke. But she knew, somewhere across the earth, under the same sky, her sister was looking at them too. And they would find their way back to each other, no matter what. Achiaa stepped off the plane in the warm, dry air of Ghana. Beijing's glass towers and snow-laced avenues faded behind her as the sights, smells and sounds of Ejeso wrapped around her like a familiar shawl. The village had changed in her absence. Children she once carried on her hip now ran past her, shouting greetings. The Odum tree had grown fuller, and yet the heart of her world, Mama Esi, lay thin and still beneath a mosquito net in their humble home. Mama, Achiaa whispered, kneeling beside the bed. Mama Esi's lip trembled into a faint smile. Achiaa, my child, you came. I always will. The village doctor explained it was a persistent infection, one that might have been treatable earlier, but now clung like roots to the lungs. With proper care, she might recover. Without it, they couldn't say. Achiaa didn't cry. She rolled up her sleeves and got to work. Back in Beijing, Serwaa stood before a committee of engineers. She was mid-presentation. Her prototype, a compact drone for agriculture monitoring, hovering perfectly in the air. She looked every bit the innovator she once dreamed of being. But inside, she was aching. Every night, she called home. Some nights, Mama Esi was strong enough to speak. Most nights, it was Achiaa who answered. She ate a little today, Achiaa would say, or the fever is back. Serwaa would smile, assure her she was sending more money, then bury her head into her pillow after the call ended, muffling the sobs that threatened to burst. Kai noticed. You can't hold both the sky and the earth, Serwaa, he said over dinner one night. You need to let someone help. I don't know how, she whispered. Kai reached for her hand. Then start small. Let me. And she did, slowly. In Ejeso, Achiaa's days began before the sun rose and ended long after the stars appeared. She tended to Mama, cooked, cleaned, visited the clinic, and still found time to work in a small garden she planted outside their home. It was her way of clinging to hope. Each sprout a promise she whispered to herself. The village women helped when they could. Mama Ya brought soup every Friday. Old Kojo came with herbs. One morning, as she poured tea for Mama, a knock came at the door. Achiaa opened it to find a stranger, short, smiling, holding a camera. I'm Emmanuel, freelance journalist. I heard about a young woman who studied agriculture in China and came home to save her mother and her village. Achiaa blinked. I'm not anyone special. You are a story, he said. The distance between the sisters grew, not by love, but by circumstance. Serwaa's schedule filled with labs, lectures, interviews and late-night sessions. Her drone prototype attracted attention. A professor encouraged her to apply for an international innovation grant. But every achievement tasted like ash when she opened her inbox to see a message from Achiaa. Mama hasn't eaten today. The doctor says the antibiotics are running out. I sold Babette's books. We have enough for one more week. Guilt became her shadow. Then, one night, while reviewing data, she received an email. Project selected innovation from Africa's Fellowship. Congratulations, Miss Serwaa Tunde. You've been awarded a grant to develop your drone project across selected regions in Ghana. She dropped her pen. The sky above Beijing shimmered with fireworks, spring festival celebrations. But Serwaa could only think of one thing. I'm going home. 3 weeks later, a car pulled up outside the family home in Ejeso. Achiaa looked up from butchering her cassava. Her mouth felt open. Serwaa, her sister, clad in jeans and a dust-covered backpack, grinned from ear to ear. Surprise! Even the birds paused their songs. Inside, Mama Esi wept with joy. Her arms were frail, but her heart pulsed strong. I knew, she whispered. I knew my girls would find their way. Over dinner, goat stew and rice Serwaa brought from Accra. They talked. Serwaa shared everything. The drone project, the fellowship, the chance to test in rural Ghana. and how she negotiated with the sponsors to begin her pilot phase in Ejiso. "You did all that?" Achiaa whispered, tears in her eyes. "For us, for Mama, for home." With the grant funds, the sisters began transforming Ejiso. Serwaa started drone trials, using them to monitor crop health and identify pest infestations. Achiaa, with her training in irrigation and organic practices, educated local farmers on sustainable methods. They set up a community garden using drip irrigation systems. Children learned to plant, women learned to compost, and elderly helped harvest. Then, embraced for so long, Kai arrived 2 months later, a suitcase in hand and a sparkle in his eyes. "Couldn't stay away," he told Achiaa. "Also, your tomatoes misses me." He joined the project as a tech consultant. He and Achiaa worked long hours side by side, often forgetting the time. One evening, under the odum tree, he turned to her. "Achiaa, I've loved you since the first sprout." She laughed. "You waited this long to say that." He shrugged. "I was watching it slowly." They kissed. It tasted like earth and sunshine. Just when the village felt alive again, another challenge struck. The regional council sent a notice. Drone use in rural zones now requires special clearance. Serwaa's drone work would have to stop unless approved. She was furious. "This is politics. They just want to control innovation. We can appeal," Kai said, "but it will take time." Days turned into weeks. Local farms began struggling again. Pest infestations returned. One farmer, in frustration, burned half his own field. Serwaa blamed herself. "We promised them change. Now we are powerless." But Achiaa reminded her, "We've always had power, but it just looks different." That night, they gathered the farmers, elders and youth. "We will work the old way and the new," Achiaa declared, drones or not. Without drone feedback, with marketed hoes, compost bins, and sweat, they reclaimed the field. 3 months later, the appeal came through. Drones operation approved. But that wasn't all. Serwaa received an invitation to speak at the Pan-Africa Tech and Innovation Summit in Nairobi. She was listed as one of the top 10 women redefining agriculture. The sisters traveled together, this time not as girls chasing dreams, but as women living them. On the summit stage, Serwaa spoke passionately about climate-smart agriculture, African youth in tech, and power of sisterhood. "My sister grew food with her hands. I flew machines with mine. We are both cultivators of change, of hope, of home." The hall gave a standing ovation. Months passed, then a year. Ejiso was no longer a forgotten village. It became a model for other rural communities. NGOs visited, grants followed. The community built a resource center called the Tunde Sisters Hall. Mama Esi regained her strength. She resumed her healing work with new herbs from Achaa's garden. Kai and Achiaa were engaged beneath the odum tree. Serwaa, though focused on her work, began writing a book, Sky and Soil, A Tale of Two Sisters. One cool Harmattan evening, the sisters lay side by side beneath the stars again. "Remember when we were kids?" Serwaa asked, talking about flying and farming. Achiaa smiled. "We made it real." "You think Baba would be proud?" He never stopped being proud. They held hands in silence. Above them, the stars shimmered, not too different from the ones over Beijing, not too different from the ones they followed into their next chapter. No matter where they went, they would always be 2 stars under one sky, together. 3 years had passed since Serwaa and Achiaa returned to Ghana. Ejiso, once a quiet village tucked behind whispering fields, now buzzed with rhythm of transformation. Farmers used drones. Schools taught coding, and the new Sisterhood's Resource Center was filled daily with students and elders alike. Achaa's garden had become a regional model for climate-smart farming. Her produce fed not only the village but neighboring towns. Serwaa's drone system was being tested in 5 additional regions through a government-private sector partnership. Despite the progress, the sisters were far from content. "I think it's time to think bigger," Serwaa said one evening, leaning against the veranda post, laptop in hand. Achiaa raised an eyebrow from where she was salting dried moringa leaves. "Bigger than transforming 5 districts? Bigger than Ghana?" Achiaa froze. You want to go international? I want to launch SisterSky, Serwaa said, a drone agriculture tech company designed for sub-Saharan Africa, designed by Africans. And you want me in? Serwaa looked up. I can fly drones, but I can't feed people from the air. I need your hand. Achiaa smiled slowly. Then let's build it together. They launched from their modest headquarters in Accra with 5 employees. A software engineer named Blessing, a logistics expert named Kwame, 2 tech trainees, and Kai, who now served as the technical director. The company was called SisterSky. Serwaa led the vision, pitching at conferences in Nairobi, Kigali, and Dubai. Her charisma was magnetic. Investors were drawn in, not just by her innovation, but her unshakable resolve. Achiaa led the field. She conducted hands-on training in irrigation, compost systems, and greenhouse setups across rural regions. Communities welcomed her like a prophet of the earth. The first major client was a minister of agriculture in Uganda, followed by a Pan-Africa NGO focused on climate resilience. Within a year, they expanded to Nigeria, Kenya, and Rwanda. But growth like wildfire is hard to control. As SisterSky grew, so did the challenges. In Nigeria, political red tape delayed their pilot project by months. In Rwanda, one of their drones malfunctioned mid-flight, crashing into a school field. No one was hurt, but the media pounced. Foreign drone tech endangers children, the headlines read. Serwaa flew out immediately, appearing on local news to address the issue. She owned up the error, promised a full investigation, and personally met with the affected families. Meanwhile, in Ghana, Achiaa struggled with burnout. She worked late into the night, traveling from village to village, trying to maintain the soul of the mission while managing partners, farmers, and growing expectations. I haven't had a real night's sleep in 2 weeks, she told Kai. Maybe it's time to hire regional trainers, he offered. You can't be everywhere. I promised our people, she said, her voice hoarse. You can't keep promises if you burn out, he replied gently. Their calls turned short. Meetings became tense. You are scaling too fast, Achiaa said one night after reviewing a proposal. And you are slowing us down, Serwaa snapped. Silence. Achiaa blinked. Is that really how you feel? Serwaa sighed, immediately regretting it. No, I'm tired. We both are. They sat on opposite sides of the boardroom table. The hum of the air conditioner the only sound. Then Achiaa said quietly, we used to lie under stars and dream together. Now we are under fluorescent lights arguing. Serwaa smiled faintly. Let's not forget why we started this. Just when they began to find their rhythm again, tragedy struck. Achiaa was on a field trip in northern Ghana when the SUV she was traveling in collided with a truck on a dirt road. The driver died instantly. Achiaa was airlifted to Accra. When Serwaa arrived at the hospital, her heart nearly stopped. Achiaa was unconscious, her body bruised, her left leg in a cast. For 2 days, she didn't wake up. Serwaa never left her side. Kai arrived with food and warm clothes, trying to hold everyone together. The team sent flowers. Local farmers offered prayers. On the 3rd day, Achiaa stirred. Serwaa, she whispered. Tears streamed down Serwaa's face. You scared me. I'm still here. Achiaa's recovering was slow. Her leg required surgery, followed by months of physiotherapy. The doctors were optimistic, but it meant she would be off the field for the rest of the year. I'm letting you down, Achiaa said from the hospital bed. No, Serwaa said firmly. You are teaching me what strength really looks like. With Achiaa healing, Serwaa took on both leadership roles. She split her time between tech and field operations, now assisted by a new regional trainer named Ronnie, an agriculturalist from Kenya with a fierce intellect and deep compassion. The workload was brutal, but Serwaa didn't complain. At night, she would sit beside Achiaa's bed, reading aloud from farming manuals, newspapers articles, or old journals. One night, she said, remember when you told me to finish what we started? Achiaa nodded slowly. I'm trying, but it's not the same without you in the field. You are doing fine, Achiaa whispered. And when I come back, we will do better. They made a pact. One would hold the sky, the other would hold the soil, until they could ride together again. 6 months later, SisterSky was selected to present at the United Nations Innovation Forum in New York. Achiaa, now working with the king, insisted on attending. "I don't want to be remembered as a founder who stayed in bed," she joked. At the conference, the sisters stood side by side on stage. Their presentation, titled "When Sky Meets Soil," detailed how drone data, sustainable farming, and community education had increased food yield by 200% in rural Ghana. They showcased stories of families lifted out of poverty, of students now studying engineering, of villages once forgotten now digitally mapped and agriculturally revived. The crowd erupted in applause. Ministers, CEOs, and journalists lined up to meet them. Serwaa gave interviews. Achiaa spoke to youth panels. Upon their return, SisterSky was inundated with partnership offers. A Chinese tech firm offered investment. A Brazilian university proposed a joint agriculture AI lab. The African Development Bank pledged grants for expansion, but the sisters paused. "We started this for our people," Serwaa said. "We must stay grounded." So they created the SisterSky Fellowship, an African-led initiative to train young women in agricultural tech. Hundreds applied. The first cohort included students from 12 African countries. One evening, as they watched the trainees practice drone navigation, Achiaa said, "Do you think Baba would have believed this?" Serwaa smiled. "He always said the stars were watching. Maybe he is one of them now." The wedding was simple but breathtaking. Under the Odum tree in Ejisu, surrounded by friends and blooming gardens, Achiaa married Kai. Serwaa was maid of honor. Mama Esi, healthier and glowing, led the opening prayer. The drone team flew a camera drone overhead, capturing footage that would later go viral as the most beautiful wedding in Ghana. Later that night, as the stars twinkled overhead and fireflies danced, Serwaa sat alone beneath the tree. Achiaa found her. "You are not thinking about leaving, are you?" she asked. Serwaa hesitated. "An investor wants me to set up an AI lab in South Korea. 3 years, full funding." Achiaa nodded slowly. "And what do you want?" "I want to help more people, but I also don't want to lose this." Achiaa took her hand. "Then go, but don't leave. The sky is still ours, wherever we are." A year later, Serwaa stood in the Sleek Soul laboratory, instructing a team of engineers on a new algorithm for plant disease detection. Achiaa stood in a Ghanaian greenhouse, helping a farmer set up solar irrigation, thousands of miles apart. But every week, they had a call, Sister Hours, they called it. No investors, no staff, just them, talking about life, dreams, and what seed to plant next. On one such night, Achiaa sat on her porch under a starlight sky. "Can you see the moon over there?" she asked through the video call. Serwaa, holding a cup of ginseng tea, nodded. "Same one." They both laughed. "No matter where we are," Serwaa said softly, "we are always under one sky. Always." Please like and comment, and also remember to subscribe. Thank you.